Ravi lived a quiet life on Havenreach, a peaceful colony floating on the edge of the known galaxy. He worked in the power grid department, checking wires, replacing broken circuits, and fixing cooling fans. Most people didn't notice him, and he liked it that way. Havenreach had thousands of humans and a few alien workers, all trying to live simple lives. The colony had strong walls, clean air, and its own AI systems to keep things running smoothly. One of those systems was called Lumen, a matchmaking AI that connected people across planets. Ravi never thought about relationships. He enjoyed his work, his books, and his quiet dinners. But one evening, while sipping warm tea in the break room, his co-worker Minna said, "You should try Lumen. Maybe it finds someone who likes boring stuff like you do." Ravi smiled politely. "I'm not interested. You never know," she replied. Lumen has matched people with musicians, painters, even one who talks to plants, just to get her to stop teasing. Ravi signed up that night. He answered a few questions about hobbies, preferences, and personality. He selected no preference for species. Thinking it didn't matter, Lumen would never find anyone for him anyway. The next morning, everything changed. The screen on his wall blinked with a golden message. Match found 100% compatible. Name, Queen Zelna of the Varelli Dominion. Status, ruler location. Currently en route to Havenreach. Ravi blinked. This has to be a joke. The Varelli were one of the most feared alien species in the galaxy. Tall, powerful, and known for their warships. They had conquered 3-star systems in less than a decade. Their queen was a mystery, only seen during broadcasts. When she declared victory over her enemies, why would Lumen match him with her? He pressed the report error button. The screen blinked again. No error found. Match confirmed. Queen Zelna has accepted. Estimated arrival, 27 hours. He stood frozen for a full minute. Then he called Minna. She burst out laughing. "You matched with the killer queen. This colony's doomed." "I didn't ask for this," Ravi said. "I hope you like royal food," she teased, "or royal prison." Word spread quickly. By noon, the governor called Ravi to her office. Governor Helma was a tall woman with sharp eyes. She didn't smile. "Much? You matched with Queen Zelna?" she asked. Ravi nodded slowly. "I didn't mean to. I just clicked some buttons." Helma folded her arms. "The Varelli don't play games. If she thinks this match is serious, she might expect something from you." "Like what? Marriage, alliance, or war if she's offended?" Ravi felt a cold sweat run down his back. "I can tell her it's a mistake." Helma looked out the window. "She's already on her way." By evening, the skies above Havenreach glowed with orange light as a Varelli ship arrived. It didn't look like anything the humans had seen before. Long wings curved like a bird's, but the metal shimmered like glass. Its engines made no sound. Yet the air vibrated gently. Everyone gathered near the landing pad. Soldiers in armor stood in lines. Scientists and officers whispered nervously. The ship opened slowly. A ramp extended. Then came the queen. She was tall, taller than any human, wearing a flowing robe of deep silver. Her eyes were sharp, glowing faintly violet. Her skin was smooth and pale blue, marked with soft patterns like waves. Her presence was powerful. But she didn't carry a weapon. She walked calmly until she stood face to face with Ravi. "So," she said, her voice deep and smooth, "this is my match." Ravi tried to speak. Nothing came out. Zelna tilted her head. "You're softer than expected." He blinked. "You too." There was a pause. Then, to everyone's surprise, Zelna smiled a small, curious smile. "I accept the AI's choice." She said, "Let us speak." The governor stepped forward. "Queen Zelna, this was likely a mistake." "Our citizen," Zelna raised one hand. "The AI found a perfect match. I will see for myself." Ravi didn't know what to say or do. He followed her up the ramp, past stun guards and officials. His feet felt heavy, his breath tight. Was he about to be taken prisoner? Or worse, inside the ship? Everything was clean, glowing with soft light. The walls looked alive, shifting colors gently as they walked. A small room opened, shaped like a garden with plants from unknown worlds. There were no weapons, no soldiers, just quiet air and a soft bench. Zelna sat and motioned for Ravi to sit too. He did, carefully. "Do you fear me?" she asked. "Yes." Ravi answered honestly. She nodded. "Good. Only fools do not fear power. But fear is not the same as hate." Ravi looked at her. "Why did you come? You're a queen. You don't need someone like me." Zelna touched a leaf gently. "Do you know how many wars I've seen? How many planets I've broken?" I asked. "The AI to find someone who could remind me what peace feels like." Ravi frowned. "And it chose me. You are quiet. You fix things. You do not seek power. That is rare." They sat in silence for a while. Finally, Zelna looked at him again. "I do not need a soldier. I do not need a throne share. I just wanted someone to hold my hand and not tremble." Ravi glanced down at his hands. They were still shaking, but he looked at her again. Her eyes were not cruel. "Just tired. I can try," he said softly. Zelna's fingers reached toward his, then stopped. "Only if you choose." Ravi nodded. Slowly, he placed his hand in hers, outside. The people of Havenreach waited, watching the quiet alien ship with worried eyes. Inside, to unlikely beings sat in silence, their hands rested together, not as rulers or warriors, but as two souls brought together by a machine that somehow knew more than anyone else, and far away in the central data core of Lumen, the AI simply recorded one message: "Perfect match confirmed." Ravi sat on the soft bench beside Queen Zelna, still unsure if he was dreaming or not. Her hand was warm, not cold like he had expected, for a ruler known as the Killer Queen. She seemed more curious than dangerous. She didn't speak for a while. She just watched the garden around them. The plants inside her ship were strange. One had silver leaves that swayed even without wind. Another glowed faintly like it had its own little sun inside. Ravi stared at a small flower that slowly opened and closed, like it was breathing. "You keep a garden," he said quietly. Zelna turned to him. "Yes, it reminds me that beauty can grow even in the middle of war." Ravi nodded. "It's peaceful." Zelna studied his face. "Do you know what the Varelli say about peace?" He shook his head. "They say peace is the moment between two storms, short, soft, easy to miss." "And do you believe that?" Ravi asked. "I used to," she replied. "Now I wonder if the storm is the lie." She stood up and walked slowly between the plants. Her robe brushed against the leaves but didn't harm them. "You surprise me, Ravi. You are not strong, not trained for war, not rich, not royal. Yet when I looked into your profile, I saw no fear, no ambition, only calm. That is rare. I didn't expect to meet someone like you either," Ravi said. "I thought the AI had broken." She smiled faintly. Perhaps it finally worked. After some quiet moments, a door opened with a soft hum. A tall Varelli soldier entered. His armor was smooth and dark blue, and he carried no weapon. "My queen, the Human Council demands to speak with you." Zelna waved her hand. "Later." "They say if you do not respond, they may act with force." She raised one eyebrow. "They dare to threaten me. They are afraid," the soldier said. Ravi stood up. "Maybe I should talk to them. They don't understand what's happening. They think you're here to take over." Zelna turned toward him. "And are you afraid I am?" He hesitated. "No, not anymore." The queen looked at her soldier. "Prepare a shuttle. I will go to the Human Council, but only with him beside me." The soldier looked confused but bowed and left without a word. A short time later, the shuttle descended gently in front of the governor's building. A crowd had gathered: scientists, officers, regular workers, and guards. They watched as the hatch opened and Zelna stepped out first, tall and calm, followed by Ravi in his simple brown shirt and work boots. Governor Helma stood at the front, arms crossed, jaw tight. "Queen Zelna," she said carefully, "this is a civilian colony. We are not part of any galactic politics." "I know," Zelna replied. "Then why are you here?" "I came to meet my match," Zelna said. "I did not come for war. I came for him." Many people stared at Ravi in disbelief. Minna whispered from the crowd, "Unbelievable." Helma frowned. "And what do you plan to do now?" I will not stay long, Zelna said. I only wish to understand the one the AI matched me with. I will not harm your people. Unless they harm me first. Helma turned to Ravi. Do you believe her? Ravi nodded. Yes, she's still a queen of a war empire, and I'm a repairman. Ravi replied, but here we are. Some people laughed nervously. Even Zelna smiled a little. Helma stepped aside. Very well, you may stay for one cycle, but we will watch closely. I expect nothing less, Zelna said. That evening, Zelna was given a guest room inside the research tower, where foreign visitors sometimes stayed. Ravi stayed nearby in his own room. Unsure if he should sleep or pace the floor all night. In the morning, Zelna appeared again. Walking through the gardens outside, people watched from windows and behind trees. Children pointed, and some waved. She didn't wave back, but she didn't scowl either. Ravi met her near the solar fountain. You're becoming a bit famous, he said. I was always famous, she replied. Now I'm interesting. They walked together through the park. She asked questions about human plants, human pets, human music. Ravi answered as best he could. What is the smell? She asked near a food stall. That's fried bread. Is it safe? Only if you don't eat 5. She tasted a piece. Her expression didn't change. But she said, it's strange, but I want more. They sat on a bench under a wide tree with blue leaves. Birds sang nearby. Zelna stared at the sky. When I was young, I thought I would rule for a short time, she said. Our people choose leaders through battle, but I kept winning. Now, I wonder if I forgot how to stop fighting. Ravi looked at her hands. You don't hold a weapon now. No, she agreed. I hold something gentler. She reached for his hand again. This time, he didn't hesitate. I don't understand everything about you, Ravi said. But I don't think the AI was wrong. Zelna's fingers curled around his. Then perhaps peace is more than just a pause. They sat quietly under the tree, a ruler and a technician, side by side. And high above, the stars continued to burn silent, distant, but watching. The next morning, the sun rose softly over Havenreach. Most people stayed away from the research tower, unsure of what to make of the strange visitor inside. Some feared her. Others were simply curious. But no one could ignore that Queen Zelna had walked through their colony without causing harm. Ravi stood outside the tower, waiting. He held a small bag with fruit and bread inside. He didn't know what Vareli queens ate for breakfast, but he thought it would be polite to bring something. The door opened. Zelna stepped out, dressed in a new robe dark green with silver lines, flowing down like rivers. She looked rested, calm, and focused. You brought offerings? She asked, looking at the bag in his hand. Just food, Ravi said, and maybe a question. She raised one eyebrow, then asked it. Can I see your ship? He said, the big one, not the small shuttle. Zelna looked at him for a moment, then nodded. Follow me. The two walked quietly to the landing pad. Where the Vareli ship had first arrived, the air shimmered around, it like heat over metal. As they stepped closer, the ship opened a doorway without a sound. Inside, the hall was wide and smooth, with silver walls that changed colors slightly as they moved. This ship is called Saren's Wing, Zelna said. Named after the first queen of my people, it is both a home and a weapon. They walked side by side down a corridor that curved gently. Lights above shifted from blue to soft white. You control it with your voice, Ravi asked. Voice. Thought and presence, Zelna replied. It listens only to me. Soon they reached a large door. It slid open to reveal a wide room filled with glowing displays, holograms of planets, and floating images of ships. On one wall were maps of star systems with lines drawn between them. Some lines were red, some green. This is the war room, she said. Every battle I've led began from here. Ravi stepped in slowly. He felt like he had entered a place where silence was filled with memories. The air felt heavier, like the room remembered every plan, every loss, every command. He stopped. In front of a large round table. In the center was a model of the galaxy, spinning slowly. His eyes searched for Earth, then Havenreach. He found both, marked in soft white light. Have you ever attacked Earth? He asked. No, she said. But I could have. Why didn't you? Zelna walked to the other side of the table. Her hand passed over a button, and the map vanished. In its place appeared an image of a small green world, broken and burning. That is a colony like yours. They fought us without understanding us. We fought back without understanding them. In the end, nothing was left. She looked at him. I don't want that again. Ravi stood quiet for a moment, then asked, Do your people know you're here for me? They do, she said. Some accept it, some question it. Do you ever feel tired of being queen? Zelna gave a small smile. Often. But the crown does not fall off just because I wish it would. They moved to another part of the ship. This room was smaller, quieter. There were items on the shelves. Some looked like weapons, others like small statues or medals. These are memories, Zelna said. Trophies from battles, symbols of past choices. Ravi looked closely at a small stone shaped like a bird. Did you win this in a battle? No, she said softly. That was given to me by a child on a peaceful world. He said I looked sad and needed a friend. Ravi smiled. Did it help? For a while. She moved to another shelf and picked up a round disc made of dark metal. This, she said, was my first command token. I was 16. I led 5 ships. I was told to prove I was worthy. Did you? I did. But I lost 2 ships and many lives. That victory felt more like a wound. They sat down on a bench near the wall. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Sometimes I wonder, Zelna said, if I had met you years ago, would I have chosen peace sooner? You weren't ready, Ravi said, and maybe I wasn't either. She looked at him. You are different from anyone I've ever met. I'm just a repairman. You're more than that. You listen. You don't try to impress. You ask questions, not orders. Ravi looked at the floor. I'm not brave, not strong. You walked into my ship. You looked into the war room, and you asked me about my past. That is a kind of strength your people don't often see. Ravi hesitated, then said, What happens after this? Do you stay? Do you leave? I don't know, she said, but I know I want to understand this connection. She held out her hand again. Ravi placed his hand in hers, this time with steady fingers. The ship responded to their touch. Lights round them glowed softly. A gentle hum filled the air. Like the ship itself understood something was changing. Far outside the colony, watchers continued to monitor Queen Zelna's ship, expecting danger. But inside, to people one human, one Varelli sat side by side, connected by more than orders or missions. They were matched not by power or rank, but by something deeper. And somewhere deep in the colony's network, Lumen the AI recorded a new note. The days passed quietly on Haven Reach, but tension was growing. Queen Zelna's presence still made many people uneasy. Some believed she was truly peaceful. Others thought she was pretending, waiting for the right moment to strike. Ravi noticed the change too. Fewer people smiled when he walked by. Some avoided eye contact. Minna, his friend from the control center, had stopped teasing him and instead only gave short greetings. Inside the research tower, Ravi continued to spend time with Zelna. They read together, shared stories, and sometimes just sat in silence. For the first time in years, she felt like a person, not a ruler. Ravi saw sides of her no one else had ever seen: her curiosity, her calm, and her quiet sadness. One afternoon, while walking near the edge of the colony, they passed by a group of soldiers in training. Zelna watched them for a moment, then turned away. They fear me, she said. Ravi nodded. They don't understand you. Fear is easier than understanding, she replied. Later that night, inside the military command room, a secret meeting took place. Major Brandt, a strong and proud officer, stood in front of a small group of armed men and women. His face was hard, his voice steady. She is dangerous, he said. You've seen her ship. You've read the reports. The Varelli have crushed entire colonies, and now their queen is walking around our home like a guest. A young officer named Lena raised her hand, but she hasn't harmed anyone. Brandt looked at her sharply. Yet, don't be fooled. She's gathering information, making our people soft, and she's using that technician to get inside our systems. She hasn't even stepped into command areas, another officer said. Brant slammed a small device onto the table. This was taken from her ship by one of our scouts. It's a remote signal booster. It can call in other ships within a minute. If she activates it, we're finished. Silence filled the room. What do we do? Lena asked quietly. Brent's voice lowered. We remove the threat, quietly. No war, no message. We plant a device in her ship. One explosion, no questions. The AI will think she left, and the people will breathe easy again. The next morning, Ravi met Zelna inside her ship's garden. He carried a small plant in a pot, green leaves with soft pink edges. This one grows well in the sun, he said. Thought you'd like to add it to your collection. Zelna took the pot gently. It's beautiful. What is it called? I don't know. It grows wild near the old water tanks. She placed it near the edge of a silver bench. Then I'll call it the peace flower. They sat for a while, drinking warm tea made from Varelli herbs. The ship was quiet, almost sleepy. But deep inside the engine room, hidden beneath a vent, a small device had been placed the night before, a bomb triggered by remote signal. It was silent, invisible to most scanners, and deadly. Ravi leaned back, closing his eyes for a moment. Zelna looked at him, her expression thoughtful. Something troubles you, she said. He opened his eyes. People are still afraid. They should be, she replied calmly. Fear is natural. It's what they do with it that matters. I don't want anything to happen to you, he said softly. Zelna was silent for a moment. And I don't want to bring harm to your world. Just then, the lights in the ship flickered. It was brief, only for a second. But Ravi noticed. Your ship doesn't usually do that, he said. Zelna frowned. No, it does not. She stood and tapped a panel on the wall. A soft hum passed through the ship as it ran a system check. Her eyes scanned the report. There's a foreign signal in the engine room, she said. Something was placed inside. Ravi's heart sank. You think it's a bomb, she said, or a tracker. Either way, not placed by me. Without another word, they rushed to the lower decks. The engine room was large and bright, filled with silver pipes and glowing panels. Zelna moved quickly, scanning each corner with her control band. There, she pointed. Behind that vent, Ravi opened the panel and found the device. It was small, no bigger than a hand. But its core was red and flashing slowly. It's armed, he said, and it's linked to an outside signal. Zelna didn't move. If I take it out wrong, it could explode. Ravi took a deep breath. Let me try. She looked at him. Are you sure? I fixed systems. This is just a very dangerous one. He leaned in and used a small tool from his belt. His hands moved carefully, one wire at a time. His breath slowed. His fingers didn't shake. Zelna watched closely, ready to shield him if anything went wrong. After a tense minute, the red light stopped blinking. The device powered down. Ravi exhaled slowly. It's safe. Zelna placed a hand on his shoulder. You saved us both. Ravi looked at her. Someone planted this to destroy you. Maybe even me. She nodded. I believe your people made a choice out of fear. What will you do? I will not strike, she said, but I must face them. A few hours later, Zelna stood in front of the colony's command building. Soldiers surrounded the area. Major Brant stepped forward, ready for conflict. You found it, he said. Not surprised. Zelna nodded. And I know you planted it. Brant didn't deny it. You're a threat. I protected this colony. Ravi stepped forward. You nearly destroyed peace. We were talking, learning, and you chose fear over trust. Brant looked at him coldly. She's not human. She'll turn on you. Zelna raised her voice. Then why didn't I strike when you tried to kill me? Silence followed. Governor Helm arrived, her face pale. She looked at Brant. You acted without orders. You nearly started a war. Brant stood firm. I did what had to be done. You are relieved of command, Helma said. We don't act out of fear here. Brant was taken away. Zelna turned to the governor. I did not ask to stay. I only asked to leave in peace. Ravi looked at her. And if you leave, What happens to this? Zelna looked at their joined hands. That depends on whether you come with me. Ravi didn't answer yet, but in his heart, a choice was forming. The sun over Havenreach was soft and golden, but the mood in the colony was heavy. News had spread fast someone had tried to kill Queen Zelna. People whispered in corners and stared at Ravi. When he passed, some looked sorry, others looked angry. Queen Zelna had returned to her ship after the incident. She said nothing more to the colony's leaders. Ravi hadn't seen her since she walked away with the bomb in her hands. Now, he stood outside the docking gate of her ship, thinking about everything. He didn't want to say goodbye. He didn't want her to leave thinking all humans were like Bran. He stepped toward the ship. The door opened without a sound. She had left it unlocked for him. Inside, the ship felt quiet to quiet. Even the garden, which always felt warm and full of energy, now seemed still. The plants didn't sway. The soft lights were dim. Zelna stood at the center, near the galaxy table. Her back was turned. She was holding something in her hand, a small badge with the symbol of Havenreach. She heard his footsteps. You came. I had to, Ravi said. Are you leaving? Yes, she replied. I've caused enough trouble. You didn't cause the bomb. Brent did. I brought fear with me, she said. It was always inside me. Now it has spread here too. Ravi stepped beside her. You could have attacked him. You could have crushed this whole colony. But you didn't. That means something. She looked at him. I didn't act because of you. I know, he said, and I don't want that to end here. Before she could reply, a loud sound echoed through the ship. The lights flickered. A warning message appeared on the nearest screen. Unauthorized presence detected. Lower engine. Deck. Ravi looked at her. Not again. Zelna touched her control band. Cameras are down. They've blocked the system. Who would be stupid enough to try again? Zelna moved toward the lower deck with speed. Ravi followed her, this time with no hesitation. They reached the engine room. The lights were low. Strange shadows danced across the walls. 3 soldiers stood inside, wearing Havenreach armor. They held small plasma tools. Not weapons, but dangerous enough to damage the ship's power systems. One of them turned and froze. She's here. Zelna stepped forward. You have one chance. Leave. Now. We're just making sure you don't come back, one of the soldiers said. We don't want another Brant, but we won't wait for trouble either. You are creating the trouble. Ravi said. She hasn't hurt anyone. The lead soldier raised his tool. Stay back, human. We're not here to hurt you, but don't get in our way. Zelna's hand moved to her control band. A low hum filled the room. The walls shifted. Panels locked into place. You're not going anywhere, she said calmly. The soldiers started to panic. One tried to break open a vent. Another ran toward the back. The third moved toward the main engine core. Zelna turned to Ravi. Stay behind me. I can help, he said. She gave him a quick look. Only if you're careful. Ravi moved toward the engine. He spotted one of the men pulling wires from the side. Sparks flew. Stop. Ravi shouted. You'll damage the cooling system. The man ignored him. Ravi rushed forward and pushed him back. The man swung his arm, striking Ravi's side. Ravi fell, hitting the floor with a thud. Pain shot through his chest. Zelna moved like lightning. She crossed the room and blocked the man with her arm. With a single motion, she pushed him away. He crashed into the wall and fell, groaning. The other soldiers froze. One dropped his tool. Zelna looked at them with sharp eyes. You fear me because you only see my past, but if you push me again, I will remind you why others fear my strength. The soldiers raised their hands slowly. We're done, one said. We surrender. Zelna tapped her band. The doors opened. Security officers from Havenreach entered and took the intruders away. Ravi tried to sit up. Zelna rushed to him and knelt beside him. You are hurt, she said, her voice low and worried. I've had worse, he muttered. You shouldn't have stood in front of him. I wasn't going to let them tear your ship apart. She looked at him for a long time. Then she took his hand in hers. I never wanted a match, she said quietly. I didn't believe in it, but you've shown me what peace feels like. Not just outside, but inside too. Ravi smiled weakly. Same here. Zelna helped him up. Together, they walked to the upper deck. Later that evening, Governor Helma visited the ship. Her expression was tired, but honest. I came to say thank you, she said, for showing restraint. Zelna stood tall. I could have destroyed your men, but I chose not to, and we see that now, Helma said. We were wrong to judge you by fear alone. Zelna didn't answer at first. Then she asked, will your people ever accept peace with mine? It may take time, Helma replied, but every long road starts with one step. The governor looked at Ravi. And will you stay or go? Ravi looked at Zelna, then back at the governor. I haven't decided, but I know one thing. We're stronger together than apart. Zelna squeezed his hand gently. As the stars rose above Havenreach, the colony stood quiet. No more attacks came. No more threats. Just a strange calm that hadn't been felt in days. Inside the ship, Ravi and Zelna stood beside the window, watching the stars. Whatever comes next, she said. We face it together, Ravi nodded. Together, and somewhere deep within. Lumen, the AI recorded one more message. Danger past, connection stable, trust growing. The next morning on Havenreach was calm, but not quiet. Everyone in the colony had heard about the second attack. This time, there was no doubt Queen Zelna had been the target again, and Ravi had been hurt trying to protect her. But there was no fear in the air now. There was curiosity. People whispered in hallways and stared at the skies. For the first time, they were asking not what does she want, but why did she stay peaceful? Inside the research tower's medical room, Ravi sat with a bandage wrapped around his ribs. The doctor told him to rest, but his mind wasn't quiet. His thoughts were full of Zelna, her calm face, her strong voice, and the way she had shielded him without a second thought. The door opened. Zelna stepped in, still dressed in her green and silver robe. Her steps were light, but her eyes were serious. You should be resting, she said. I'm fine, Ravi replied. Just bruised. You could have been hurt worse. You could have left, he said. But you didn't. Zelna sat beside him. I stayed because I believe in this bond, and I believe in what it can show both our people. Just then, a message beeped on the room's console. Ravi tapped the screen. It was from Governor Helma. The council is calling a hearing, Ravi read aloud. They want to discuss Queen Zelna's presence. They want both of us to attend. Zelna stood. Very well, let us face them. The council hall was built from white stone and smooth steel. Sunlight poured through a wide window above, lighting up the large room. At the center stood a tall platform. Around it were 10 council members, sitting behind curved desks. Citizens of Havenreach filled the seats behind them, soldiers, engineers, teachers. Workers all had come to hear what would be said. Zelna walked in beside Ravi, calm and proud. A quiet hush fell over the crowd. Governor Helma stood at the center of the platform. This hearing will decide the future of Queen Zelna's presence on Havenreach, she said. We have seen fear, danger, and trust tested. Today, we listen to truth. One council member spoke first. Queen Zelna, you have come peacefully, but your history is full of war. Why should we believe you have changed? Zelna replied without raising her voice, because I had every chance to strike. But I chose not to. I came here after the AI matched me with someone. I could have ignored it. I didn't. I followed its call, and I stayed when it would have been easier to leave. Another council member leaned forward. You say you followed the AI. But what do you truly want from us? Alliance? Power? Zelna looked at Ravi. No, I want understanding. And perhaps a new path forward for both our kinds. Governor Helma turned to Ravi. And what do you say? You stood by her from the start. Why? Ravi stood. He felt nervous, but he didn't let it stop him. When the AI said perfect match, I laughed. I thought it was broken. But now I see it better than anyone. I've talked with Zelna, walked with her, protected her, and been protected in return. He looked at the crowd. She's not here as a conqueror. She's here as someone looking for something different. Not war, not control, just a chance. Another member asked, And what about your loyalty to humans, Ravi, to Havenreach? I haven't turned my back on my people. He said, I'm trying to build a bridge between us and someone we never thought we could trust. If we send her away now, we break that bridge, and we prove we're not ready to grow. Minna stood up in the crowd. He's right. All heads turned. Minna continued, I knew Ravi for years. He always kept to himself. But since he met Zelna, he stepped forward in ways I never imagined. That means something. A quiet wave of agreement moved through the crowd. A few people nodded. One person clapped softly. Governor Helma looked at the council. Then she stood again. We've feared Queen Zelna. We've judged her by her past. But today, we've seen who she chooses to be now. We can act in fear again, or we can choose trust. There was silence. Then, slowly, one by one, each council member pressed the green light. 10 lights glowed in the center of the table. The decision was clear. Governor Helma turned to Zelna. You are free to stay as a guest, not just of Ravi, but of Havenreach. Zelna bowed slightly. I accept your offer with respect. The crowd stood and began to clap. Not everyone, but many, and for the first time. Zelna's face showed something rare relief. Later that evening, Ravi and Zelna walked through the colony. People didn't stare with fear now. Some smiled. Others waved. Children peeked from behind walls and fences. Zelna stopped near the solar fountain. You spoke well. I spoke from the heart, Ravi said, and people listened. She reached out her hand. He took it without hesitation. You could still leave, he said. I could, she answered. But I won't. You sure? I've walked many battlefields, but here, for the first time, I feel still. Ravi smiled. Then maybe. The AI wasn't wrong after all. They stood together, hand in hand, under the sky of Havenreach. Above them, stars stretched far across space, silent, endless, and full of unknown paths. And deep in the data banks of Lumen, the AI added a final message for the day. Trust accepted. Peace possible. Match continues. The ship glided silently through the dark space. Stars stretched endlessly on every side. But Maiko and Lyra focused on the glowing planet ahead. It was called Saron, a world of broken cities and wild forests waiting to be discovered again. The bond between them no longer felt like a burden. It was a light, steady and warm. Maiko's senses were sharper than ever. He could hear the pulse of the ship, feel the hum of the stars, and understand the quiet whispers of the universe. Lyra turned to him. We are not the same as before, she said softly. You have changed, and so have I. Maiko smiled. I feel it too. But I'm ready. They landed gently on the planet's surface. The air was thick with green mist. Trees towered high, but many were broken or burned. The ground was cracked like old skin. It was a world that had seen both life and loss. They stepped out, careful but curious. Lyra's eyes glowed softly as she touched the plants. Saron remembers, she said. It remembers what was lost and what can be found again. Maiko looked around. He felt the quiet sadness in the air, but he also felt hope. The world was waiting for something new. They walked toward a ruined city. Buildings stood tall but broken, walls crumbled, and streets were cracked. Yet, in the middle of the ruins, a large tower still stood strong. This was a place of learning. Lyra said, long ago, my people came here to share knowledge. Now, it's silent. Maiko reached out and touched the stones. They were cold, but solid. He could almost hear the voices of teachers and students, the laughter of children, the hum of machines. Lyra smiled. We can bring it back. They spent days exploring the ruins. Maiko learned how to use the bond to connect with the planet. He could feel the memories stored in the earth and stones. Lyra showed him how to heal small wounds in plants and trees. Together, they began to restore life to Saron. One evening, as the twin moons rose, Maiko sat beside Lyra on the tower's top. Below them, the forest glowed softly with new growth. Do you miss Earth? Lyra asked. Sometimes. He replied, but I'm not the same boy who left. She took his hand. You've grown beyond it. And so have I. Maiko looked up at the stars. Do you think we'll find others like us? Many are out there, Lyra said. Lonely. Searching. We'll find them. We'll build new bonds. Maiko squeezed her hand. Together. The nights grew warmer. The planet healed slowly. And somewhere far away, the Watch continued to search. But their reach was fading. Maiko and Lyra stood at the edge of the world, ready to face whatever came next. For the first time in a long time, the future was theirs to shape. And as the stars whispered around them, one thing was clear. They were no longer just a boy and a vampire. They were partners, bonded by trust, by choice, and by the endless sky.